Hey everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer. Today we have the Saris MHS 4-bike configuration. We are using 4 duo trays here on our 3+1 base. So if you're looking for something that has heavy duty weight capacity, can carry pretty much any type of bike, this is going to be the one for you. Now, there are some upsides, there are some downsides as well. So we are going to talk about all those different features right here at etrailer.com. The main perk of this configuration is that this can carry a lot of things. The main downside though is that it is a lot to carry. You're going to have a lot of weight that this sits on your hitch, and it's going to take up a lot of space. But is it worth it? Well, it does depend on what types of bikes or cargo you're planning on carrying. If you have extra heavy electric bikes, the first 2 slots on this base have an 80-pound weight capacity. And because this is a dual wheel mount rack, meaning it holds your bike by the front and the rear wheel, you also have a fender-compatible kit for those heavy cargo bikes. Now, further down the base, you do drop in weight capacity because it does sit a little bit further away from your vehicle, and this goes down to a 35 and another 35-pound per bike weight capacity. So exact same tray, but depending on where on the base you put it, you have a difference in weight capacity. And if you're familiar with a dual wheel mount design and you've seen other bike racks with that similar look to them, the main difference that we've found here at eTrailer is that this has a little bit of extra stability because it adds more touch points like our front wheel chock underneath that front wheel, as well as that rear wheel strap in the back. So if you have those larger bikes, or if you really need that extra versatility, this full kit is going to be awesome for you. But if you don't need those extra features, then this kit might be overkill and you may want to mix and match your separate parts. Fortunately, all the specific parts are available here at eTrailer, from the base to the individual kit or tray pieces. Going back to the whole system, if you need access into your vehicle, maybe you need to grab your helmets, grab your bags, well, obviously it might be a little tricky with all the bikes in the way. But like most other bike racks, this one does tilt away. But again, because it's so large and on the heavier side, that process might be a little trickier. But hopefully, if you're carrying around 4 bikes, you might have some friends around to help you out. So I have my 2 friends over here. What they're gonna do is we're gonna focus on supporting the rack by the frame and not so much the bikes. They're then going to lift up on the rack and pull that lever and gently bring it down to the ground, dodging out of the way of the pedals, the gears, the handlebars. So on the heavier side, but definitely doable. To bring it back up, they just lift up on the whole rack frame. Lifting it up, it catches into place so you don't have to deal with that lever anymore. For your vehicle, this is what it's going to look like with the bikes loaded up. You're going to have very limited visibility through your rear view camera. Obviously, this will change depending on what type of camera you have or vehicle, but you can definitely see where it sits there in the hitch. For the process of loading and unloading the bikes, again, the dual wheel mount design makes it a lot easier for that process. Now we do have that rear wheel strap, so always remember to do that before unloading your bike. And then that strap also has a keeper in the back to keep it secure when you go up and down. There's also a trick to these levers. Some people have been complaining that these levers are too difficult to pull and that the force of them pulling it creates a potential pinch hazard. Well, what we've learned here at eTrailer is that we've turned it into kind of a push-to-pull system. So you push in on the mast and then you pull that lever a lot easier now, and then you just lift that mount out. What I then do is I just push the mount gently in, just to hold the bike in place as I go to the other mount and do the exact same thing. Push, pull, and then release. This mount then can go all the way down to the ground if you choose that option. I like to keep it just a little bit above so it doesn't scratch on the pavement as I grab the bike and then lower it. Having that extra clearance makes it easier to grab the bike. For the ones closer in, with them being 80 pounds, you will appreciate that function too. And if even that is a bit much, or if you have a vehicle that sits higher up, there is an available add-on ramp that will help you out with that process. We switched vehicles here today so you can see what I mean and why we would need the add-on ramp. This ramp again is sold separately, but is very helpful for your heavier bikes. This is also a great way to show that loading process, because when you have multiple bikes, you always have to consider things like handlebars, pedals, and seat posts. But we have some pretty decent spacing between our bikes here that we can settle it into place. And what I like to do is I actually like to get the front wheel mount gently attached to hold the bike in, and then I can take off the ramp, lift that rear wheel up, secure that. Now I can tighten things down and then secure the strap. Just like that, we're now ready to drive. Here we are behind the eTrailer building. We have some fun potholes and gravel that we can drive over. So we pick up some speed over some gravel. We see some vibration of the bikes, but nothing crazy. We're also making some turns here. So you can see that the whole vehicle turns, and we do have some motion, but this is a really sturdy look of the bikes. We have some potholes and some bumps, so there's a little bit of up and down. Our electric bike is moving a little bit. And now we had our quick stop. So you can see the bikes kind of move forward a little bit with the truck. So as I had to make a U-turn and turn around, having the bikes behind me was not ideal. It was definitely in the way of my rear view camera and window, but I was able to make my maneuver. So going back down the road, again, everything looks great. No excessive movement. As the truck moves, so does the bike rack and so do the bikes. So nothing is moving separately. I'm pretty happy overall with, despite the sheer amount of weight behind the vehicle, we can see that all the different touch points are holding on strong. Now we're back. We took all the bikes off so that we can talk about some dimensions and measurements here. This is what your rack is gonna look like without the bikes on there. You can see that all the other trays are pretty much in line, other than the add-on, which has a little bit of height to it. Now with all this paired together, this is gonna add a lot of length to the back of your vehicle. What we do is we measure from the center of the hitch pin hole to the end of the rack, and that's gonna be about 57 inches, or almost 5 feet added to the back of your car. So if you have a small garage, you need to park into a tight spot, that's definitely a measurement worth knowing. The next measurement is your ground clearance. So you can really see this performs well on taller hitches like what we have here on the truck, which is why we switched on over. And our hitch, the bottom inside corner, that to the ground is 15 inches. So let's compare it to our tray here at the end. That's gonna be 25 inches off the ground. And then these other trays are gonna be about 23 inches off the ground. So it does go up about 7.5 inches, give or take an inch, depending on where you measure. And then for the handle to the ground, that's gonna sit at 15 inches. So only slightly lower than where your hitch is. And that way, if you do bottom out or make any contact, you have this bracket to help protect you and to prevent any other parts of the bike rack touching the ground. This rack does fold up to have a more compact or portable position. So I do recommend always folding it up when possible if your bikes are not on there, because not everyone is gonna see the 5 feet of rack behind you. So with that in mind, remember how we pulled the lever earlier to tilt the bike rack down? That's gonna be what this rack will want to do. So I do recommend holding onto the rack as you pull that lever. And then that way, when you pull it, you can automatically start lifting it up. Oh, that's heavy. And then you're gonna have two positions. The first position is just like that. You have a little bit of an angle. That's gonna be helpful for clearance on some vehicles, since your add-on does stick up a little bit further. For some vehicles that have a straight hatch, the Chevy Tahoe is a great example of that. This is gonna be great to give you that clearance. But if you have a little bit more space that you can work with, you can pull the lever again, and then this time lift right up there. And that's gonna be your even more portable or compact position. This does sit pretty high up, so you do have to be mindful that this may cover some of your rear window view, and you might not be able to see as much through your rear mirror. Now the length this will now add to the end of your hitch receiver. Again, we measure from the center of the hitch pin hole. This time the outside end will be 15 inches, so a little bit over a foot. Again, big difference compared to when it was folded down. If you have a limited garage space, you'll want it in this position. Also probably how you will store it in your garage when it's not on your car. You'll also have to be mindful that this may cover your tail lights, your backup camera, as well as your license plate. If that's going to be the issue, the good news is that the Saris MHS does have an extra light kit, another add-on extension kit that uses a 4-way wiring harness, connects to your vehicle, and that way as you turn on your lights, your bike rack turns on too. Remember that this is a kit with our 3 MHS Duo accessory trays along with our MHS Duo add-on. So our add-on is going to have a different bracket that fits into the end of the MHS base. And then the accessory is going to have a collar that goes around one of the 3 slots of your base and then secures with a special Torx tool at the end. So if you get the full kit, all of this will be included and you don't have to worry about it. But if you do want to mix and match, remember, this is going to be your Duo tray with the collar, and then you have your Duo tray with the add-on bracket. So if you're curious and need to know more information about those individual parts, you can check out their individual product pages right here at eTrailer. In fact, I also recommend checking out the other accessories that you can use with your 3+1 base, like the MHS cargo basket, where you can switch out 2 of these trays for a large basket, or the Uno add-ons. In fact, for me personally, as a full kit, what I would do is I would use the 3+1 base. I would use 2 Duo trays to maximize my 80-pound weight capacity, but then I would use 2 Uno trays at the end, since I only have that 35-pound weight capacity anyways. But that's only what I would do if I didn't need that full fat tire width and long wheelbase capacity that the Duo tray provides. But if I wanted full capabilities and I didn't mind all the space that this takes up, as well as all the weight that this has, and also if I had a vehicle that had the full tongue weight capacity to fully load it up, this really is going to be the kit that gives you everything. Whether it's premium features like integrated locks or versatility with all types of bikes, this is going to be the kit for you. This was a look at the MHS Duo 4-bike kit at etrailer.com. My name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed this journey.